All right, I wanted to share another projection that I keep for Kristen. This would be hard to do for anyone that's really new, but anyone that's been at the in the company for maybe 6 months or more, and who's been building and developing a team, I can do this for. Basically, what this does is this takes company size. I look at your growth over the last few months, and I determine what your average percent growth is. That's up there in this box. And then I project your growth for the next couple of years based on that average percentage. I also figure out what your average wholesale per presenter is, and those two numbers um, multiplied, well, not the 16%, sorry, that your projected company size multiplied by your average wholesale per presenter gives me a rough estimate of your company wholesale, which I put here in this column. From that, I've found that for Kristen, her month end payout, now that disregards her royalties, her personal royalties, and any bonuses, falls between 3.98 and 5.33% of her company wholesale number. So in these month end projected on projected, you'll see why it's titled that way here in a second. Um, Gives me a range of what I expect her to make in each of these months. So um, in August of 2015, I would have projected anywhere between 635 and 850 on month-end payout. Again, that's without personal royalty commissions and bonuses. Um, for the months that I have it, I've actually put in her actual growth too. You can see it doesn't always add up perfectly. January, I expected her to be at 239. She was only at 225, 275 in February, 271. And of course, some months like February, people sell their little booties off and do a lot better than 140 per presenter. So, the projection is just that. It's a projection. It's not always correct, but I do it to give me a real rough estimate of where I think Kristen's earnings are going to fall. Um, I then record her actual payout over here. I guess the first thing I do actually is I project what her month end pay would have been on her actual company wholesales. So I've got a column for um, her earning range based on projected company wholesale and the earning range based on actual company wholesale. That's these four columns right here. Um, then I record her actual month-end pay. So you'll see, let's take January for example. I thought she'd have a company size of 239 and projected her to sell 33,521 as a company. As you all know, January didn't go very well. Probably didn't go great for many of you either. Her company sold, or she ended the month with 225 presenters on her team, and they only had a company wholesale of 23,650. So this projected range is going to be way off. She actually made about 1,000 on month-end payout. I had guessed she'd make 1,300 to almost 1,800, but you can see that this is actually really accurate if you can guess company wholesale correctly, because based on her actual wholesale, her payout range would have been between 941 and 1260. She sold just over 1,000, so she fell in that range, and that's pretty consistent throughout. Right here, her actual projection had her making between 2,044 and 2,700. She made 2,046. Um, they're not always at the low end either. This one actually outperformed her projected actual. Um, but you can also see if you just compare this to all four columns, it's really, even though they're off, they're pretty good estimates, pretty good rough estimates of where her payout's going to be. I mean, here's one, 854 to 1144. She actually made 1163. 991 to 1327. She actually made 1566. So it just gives me more information to plan with when we look ahead to saving for a down payment for a house and things like that. The next thing I do is I use again these projected numbers to project an annual income. If she were to stay steady at 100, look at November here, she were to stay steady at 178 people per team, and I project 991 to 1327 for payout, that means an annual income of 11,897 to 1593. And then I adjust it every single month based on projection and record the actual, which of course is just her actual month-end pay times 12 months. And then just for kicks, these are really just for kicks. They don't tell me much useful. I take that number, divide it by 2080 to figure out what her hourly pay would be if she worked a regular 40-hour week. And you can see she's starting to get up there into above $10 an hour as of March. So that's exciting. But the fun part is just getting down here and seeing what the future might hold. I mean, December of this year, making in that 67 to maybe 9,000 range. November up to 8. November will probably be a range quite a bit higher than that because we all outsell 140 per presenter in November. In fact, last year it was 196 per presenter. So I'll just plug that in, and that puts November of this year between 8158 and about 11,000 as a anticipated payout range. And just like all of my spreadsheets, I can do any amount adjusting on here. If I think she's going to grow at 14% instead of 16, I can change that. Or 12%, I can change it, and all the numbers change accordingly too. So lots of playing around to be done if you're interested in that. I'm working pretty heavily on the other projections right now, but when I'm through with those, we can maybe get into one of these for you guys if you think you want it and it'd be useful for you. Just let me know what you think. Thanks.